Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. We're going to jump right back into the spoilers, continuing where I left off yesterday. And I think Hound Tamer is the front. Quite a bit harder to see with this frame. You might see that little teeny tiny white on white 4/4 in the bottom right there. Very questionable. Anyway, it's a 3-cost 3/3 human werewolf with trample. If you pay 4, put a 1/1 counter on target creature and daybound, and then untamed pup. It's a 4/4 werewolf trample. Other wolves and werewolves you control have trample, which I mean, they're basically slivers at this point. And then if you pay 4, you can put a counter on target creature, and like I said, nightbound. So that's your utterly broken 3-cost werewolf, because we needed that. Next up, Slaughter Specialist is a 2-cost 3/3 vampire warrior. What the hell are they doing with the 3/3 for 2? Well, I'll answer that. Its downside is that when it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 white human creature token. Yeah, that makes it all okay. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, though, put a 1/1 counter on Slaughter Specialist. Yeah, this is ridiculously overpowered. Boy, we're off to the races with this one. I am glad that I stopped where I did in the last video. Next up, a Natural Moonrise. It's a 2-cost sorcery, green-red. It becomes night, because we needed that. I think if you cast this and then cast one more spell, it would flip to day, though. I'd have to reread how that works. So until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card and then flashback 4, so you can really boost your werewolves while also making sure 24/7, 100% of the time it is night, which is extremely annoying. Next up, Bloodline Culling. Very interesting card here. It's a 3-cost double black instant, and it says choose one target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn, so you might as well just run a kill spell, especially one that costs 2 instead. But then the second part is all creature tokens in play get -2/-2 until end of turn. Now we're talking a token sweeper, although we do already have one, but I think it costs 4. And it's type based, but I mean most tokens would be the same type. Next up, we've got Dennick Pious Apprentice, a 2/3 in blue-white, legendary creature human soldier, and it has lifelink, and cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. So we've got graveyard mechanics, then we've got graveyard clearing, then we've got anti-graveyard clearing countermeasures. And that's what Wizards calls complexity. And then this itself has Disturbed 4, because obviously it's guarding against, Disturbed. But then we've got Dennick Pious Apparition. Apparently he wasn't that good of an apprentice. So he's 3/2 with flying, which is nice, and whenever one or more creature cards are put into graveyards from anywhere, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then if Dennick Pious Apparition would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Next up, we've got Storm the Festival. It's a, 6-cost rare green triple green sorcery with a werewolf in the art. I'm sure this will be fair and balanced and not help werewolf decks in any way. Wait, no, the other thing. It will be awful. So look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and then flashback 10. Or as I like to call it, Collected Company, Werewolf Edition. Well, that card was a mistake, literally admitted by the MTG staff, so why would they do this? I mean, this costs a hell of a lot of mana, but still. So Collected Company, if you're not familiar, is look at the top 6 cards of your library. Oh no, they made it 5 this time. It's so much more fair, guys. Put up to 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less each, not total, from among them onto the battlefield. So directly into the battlefield, not into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom in any order. So this is 5 and then 5. And then it costs 2 more. So that 2 mana is supposed to justify why you went up to CMC 5. Are you kidding me? This card is awful, and I can't wait for it to be banned. Next up, we've got Florian, who isn't Oko, apparently. Everybody thought this was Oko. I thought it looked like a couple different celebrities, actually. But Florian Volderan Scion. He's in this set because he forgot Crimson Vow was next. Maybe he didn't get invited to the wedding. Kind of looks like an asshole. I could see it. So we've got black, red, generic, triple cost, legendary creature, vampire noble, 3/3, first strike. And by the way, it looks like all these dumbass village people are like, hey, you should help us and protect us because vampires are powerful. Now, vampires are the worst. Kill them all. So anyway, at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total amount of life your opponent lost this turn. Exile one of those cards and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exiled card this turn. Well, that's weirdly obscure. Next up, Phantom Carriage. It's a 6-cost 4/4 flying spirit, and when Phantom Carriage enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card with flashback or disturb, put it into your graveyard, okay, and then shuffle. That's weird. I haven't seen any that would really be worth this, and this card costs 6, but it's awful, and yeah, no thanks. That has got to be one of the weirdest almost tutors I've ever seen. Next up, Dreadhound. It's a 6-cost 6/6 demon dog. Oh, we heard about this one. When it enters battlefield, mill 3 cards, and then whenever a creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from a library, each opponent loses 1 life. Well, I'd say this is another amplifier for the Pest deck, but they sure as shit don't get to 6 mana, so it's just not. I think this is a draft card. They had to make something bigger in this set because the rest are synergistic small stuff, but you can't really get that working in a draft, so okay. Next up, Firmament Sage. It's 4-cost 2/3 human wizard. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Firmament Sage enters the battlefield. And then whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, draw a card. Holy shit. You're still not going to stop werewolves, but you're certainly going to piss them off before you die. Outdrawing their opponent many times, you could just with this card draw 3 cards per turn if it flipped enough times. And of course, they didn't make it legendary because why would they? At least they finally revealed the story here, although I could have just read it. The cause remained unclear, but the fact was undeniable. Nights were lengthening faster than in any autumn past. So it's like August, and they're like, why is it getting dark at 5 o'clock? I just realized it only makes sense to people in Wisconsin. Next up, Chevy Cavalier. Oh wait, no, Sunrise Cavalier. It's a 3-cost 3/3 human knight with trample and haste. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day. As it enters the battlefield, then whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Or you could just run Luminarch Aspirant and get a counter for doing dead-ass nothing. Although you could flip it to night by doing dead-ass nothing too. Let me just break it down in case you're really bad at math, okay? It is easier to do nothing in a turn than it is to do 2 somethings, so it's basically always going to be night, and werewolves are already OP as balls. Trust me when I say they are going to absolutely wreck standard. Next up, Fading Hope. It's a 1-cost instant. Return target creature card to its owner's hand because we needed another one of those in the game. If its mana value is 3 or less, scry 1. Oh good, you gave them a scry on top of it. Fantastic. Next up, we got an incredibly blurry image of Angelfire Ignition, which is extremely hilarious if you know what Angelfire originally was. But it's a 3-cost white-red sorcery. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. It gains Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible, and Haste until end of turn, because holy shit. And then Flashback 4. I think we found the most powerful spell in this faction. Holy actual shit. This is insane. So they can't block you, effectively, because you have Trample. You're 2 bigger permanently. You gain lifelink, so even if they do block you, you're going to go ahead of them on the life total. It's indestructible, so there's absolutely nothing they can do. And if it just came out, it doesn't matter because it has haste. And you get 2 uses of this. I hate Flashback so much. Never did like it, always did hate it. So, yeah, what more is there to say? This is absolute AIDS. Next up, Memory Deluge. It's 4-cost blue instant. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast a spell. Put 2 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order, and then Flashback 7. Is this an anti-spell cost reduction card? Is that actually what they just printed? Okay, so they had some kind of divination with Flashback thing, read the bones, I don't even know what to compare this to. And then they were like, oh shit, we totally broke Storm and we broke the Pseudo-Izzet guild. Now we have to make this not do 4 if it only costs 2, because that would be ridiculous. I mean, drawing 2 cards blind for 2 mana would be ridiculous, let alone the scry. So I mean, yeah, this is awful. Now you might be saying, oh, but they just want you to scry harder when it's Flashback 7 because you spent 7 on it. Yeah, it does that. No, that's not what they were going for. I assure you Storm was the bigger problem and all that spell reduction bullshit. Speaking of that, Cathartic Pyre. It's a 2-cost red instant. Choose 1. It deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, so in other words, Lightning Strike, but with a bonus. Or discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. I love how they said that many, because I think that makes it so that if it says discard 2, and you actually have 1 in hand, you only successfully discarded 1, so you'll only successfully draw 1. Because discard is like cast. It doesn't mean successfully, it just means the attempt was made. The trigger went off or whatever. So next up, we got a black mythic legendary enchantment. Okay. Black X is called the Meat Hook Massacre. Oh, this is that murder guy from the corn card. Okay, so I guess they got to deal with him at the same time as werewolves and all the other crap. So when the Meat Hook Massacre enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to kill a lot of stuff when this drops in, potentially, or you could just drop it in on turn 2 for X = 0 and just ride it off into the sunset. It's not too bad. It's a little slow. I'd rather pay 4 and just have the one that makes them lose 1 and me gain 1 every single, end step? But, I mean, you could run a board wipe on top of this, like Blood on the Snow or whatever, and just destroy everybody's life totals. I mean, yours would go through the roof and theirs would go down the toilet, in theory. This card doesn't do anything to replace the shit you just lost, though, so I don't know. Next up, Burn Down the House. It's a 5-cost red sorcery rare. Burn Down the House deals 5 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Okay, because we needed Anger of the Gods on steroids in the set, apparently. And then create 3 1/1 Red Devil creature tokens with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target, which is basically the Pest deck, except the Super Weenie Hut General Jr. version. But yeah, Red getting a board wipe for 5 when they're already running dragons that are bigger than that. Kind of annoying. Next up, we've got Sunstreak Phoenix. It's a 4-cost 4/2. Phoenix with flying, and it's mythic. Oh god, do you know how many degenerate, overpowered, overpriced Phoenixes we've had in the last 5 years? Do you guys even have a concept of that? I've got PTSD looking at this piece of shit. Okay, if it's either day or night, it becomes day, obviously, and then whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you may pay 2. If you do, return Sunstreak Phoenix from whatever. Okay, great, he's not that great. Let's move on. He does Phoenix things, but only on a day-night flip. Okay, whatever. Next up, Smoldering Egg. Oh boy, another dragon egg. I do believe we were warned about this as well. It's a 0/4 for 2 with Defender, which is actually really nice. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of Ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the number of mana, or the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then if it reaches 7, which should not take long at all, remove them and transform it into Ashmouth Dragon. And remember, the red splash anything else treasure dragon deck already does all of this. So we've got a flying 4/4, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to any target. Well, at least Shadow Spear is going to cycle out, otherwise this would be truly ridiculous. Still pretty ridiculous though, but I mean, yeah, it's only a 4/4. You know, hey. Next up, Hallowed Respite. It's a 1 white, 1 blue sorcery. Exile target non-legendary creature, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it, otherwise tap it. Oh, nice. So you can target yours and boost it, or theirs and tap it, and then flashback 3. I actually love this. It's getting awful close to Reflector Mage, though, and that was banned. Next up, we got Vivisection. It's a 4-cost blue sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, and then draw 3 cards. That is extremely black of a spell, not blue. Alrighty then. Next up, Blood Tithe Collector. Seriously, you people are pathetic. You are the problem. I would say, okay, I'm gonna kiss your ass, but begrudgingly. I'm gonna be like, here, have some free blood donations or whatever the hell you're on about, if you kill a minimum of 5 werewolves per day. Otherwise, kiss my ass, I'm gonna eat some garlic bread, and you can f*** off. Like, if you're so powerful, you damn well better do your job, okay? If they just moved in, they're like, I run the town now, You gotta sleep sometime, bitch. Sun's coming out at weird intervals, I'm just saying. I've got some sharp, pointy sticks. They're basically everywhere. And I would encourage you all to also rise up against your vampire oppressors. I should probably read the card. It's a 5-cost, 3/4 Vampire Noble, and flying. And when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, each opponent discards a card. I totally just read that on autopilot and did not consciously process a single word, because I was just thinking about a vampire just being like, oh wait, flying. Werewolves don't have flying. They could probably jump, 20 feet in the air? So just get out a bow and just be like, we're going hunting, bitches. It's just like, if you guys haven't heard, the weakness of the Tarrasque in Dungeons & Dragons, at least 5th edition, it has no attacks that can hit flyers. So if your whole party can fly, or if just one of you can fly, it can't really run away. I think it can burrow, but you could just sit there and ping it with arrows all day and eventually you'll kill it, and there's nothing it can do. So since your entire party doesn't have flying, get the, I think it's 1,000 gold item, the Flying Carpet, and now your party does have flying. So you then proceed to go find the closest Tarrasque, kill it, I think it's level 35, and then level up 16 times. So why don't the vampires do that? Although, once again, I haven't read the story yet. So, maybe they do. So anyway, I mean, yeah, it's a 5-cost conditional discard thing. I mean, they probably don't have a card in their hand. If they do, great. Other than that, it's just a shitty vampire. A 3-hit in the air for 5? Like, what is this? Get out of here. This bitch is too weak to kill any werewolves. 3-4, they ain't gonna kill shit. Next up, everybody on my Discord channel was losing their mind over this, but I haven't read it yet on purpose because I like to have this be the first look at the spoilers here. But we got Death Bonnet Sprout. So it's a 1/1 for 1 in green, of course. It's a fungus. And at the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. Then if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, transform Death Bonnet Sprout. And then it turns into Death Bonnet Hulk. Damn, somebody grew up quick. 3/3 fungus horror, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile a card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, put a 1/1 counter on Death Bonnet Hulk. Which, of course, there's creatures in your graveyard. That's how it flipped. So this is like a time-delayed absolute beast of a creature, but it's not just like, oh, straight 3-turn countdown. It's like you don't really know when you're going to get that many. It could be really early by like some kind of other mill effect, or it could be super late if you keep milling like not creatures. So, I mean, definitely an interesting card. I don't know why people are so tripping over it. I'll have to go ask them. Let's see. We've got Vengeful Strangler. It's a 2-cost 2/1 human rogue. I do wonder if that's who the weird butcher guy was. But Vengeful Strangler can't block, and I wonder why. When he dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control, attached to target creature or planeswalker and opponent control. So we've got a curse that can only affect planeswalkers or creatures, but not players. Then we got Strangling Grasp. So I guess his burned body came out to strangle the executioner. Nice. Enchant creature or planeswalker opponent controls, obviously. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, enchanted permanent's controller sacrifices a non-land permanent and loses 1 life, not or. Damn. So I mean, okay, you have to get it killed first, but it can't block. That's a problem. There's an awful lot of sack outlets, though, so okay. But then you basically just get an effect that we had in Standard that I think rotated out, actually. I don't remember the name, but it's like the one where you throw it on the creature and then they have to, like, sack something. And so it's implied, like, it would be pretty smart to do the one with the aura on it, or you're going to have to do it again the next turn. But if you have, like, a token and they put it on an 8/8, well, okay. But it's going to get you eventually. So, yeah, this one is kind of the same thing, but it's so roundabout. It's so difficult to get him killed. I don't know. I mean, if you swing with them over and over and over, they're going to stop, you know, wanting to take 2 damage at some point, obviously. Well, they know they're going to lose a creature, so this, I mean, it kind of functions as like an overpriced time-delayed death touch, I guess. I don't know. It's I kind of like the card because it's neat, but I also don't think it's very effective. So next up, we've got Tovolar's Huntmaster. He's a human werewolf 6/6 for 6, and when Tovolar's Huntmaster enters the battlefield, create two 2/2 green wolf creature tokens and Daybound. And then Nightbound, he becomes the pack leader, 7/7. And when he enters the battlefield or attacks, which kind of implies that you can enter with that face up, or they wouldn't have said that. Okay. Create 2 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. So every single swing, there you go. And then pay 4 another target wolf or werewolf you control, fights target creature you don't control. And then Nightbound, because of course we needed that. I mean, it's a way up there in the mana scale, especially for like basically a blitz and ambush deck. But it really just proves that this has mid-range, the werewolf deck. The werewolf deck is going to be a nightmare to play against until they nerf it by banning something. Trust me. So next up we got Malevolent Hermit. It's a 2-cost blue 2/1 human wizard. You pay 1, sack him, and counter target non-creature spell unless his controller pays 3. About damn time we had a counter spell in creature form. Boy, I mean, besides Siren, which was an Ixalan, we had, I think, nothing for about 10 years. Mostly Modern is where I play those cards. Okay, so I kind of like this a little bit, and then it has Disturb 3, and then he turns into Mr. Nice Guy, Casper the Friendly Ghost. I guess all he wanted his whole life was to be dead. And now he's content. In other words, every millennial meme ever. So, Captain Rainbows and Sunshine here is a 2/2 flyer, and non-creature spells you... Why is this so funny? Okay, non-creature spells you control can't be countered. Because he's dead inside, damn it, your magic don't work on him.
I was a man who was dead inside. You couldn't hurt me no more, see?
Oh, the clips are getting even more and more obscure as we go.
And when you got a man like that in prison, you got to get rid of him. And that's what they did. They shipped me to Alcatraz.
I shouldn't be laughing. This asshole clearly goes in a storm deck. You know, real storm, fake storm, pseudo storm. You know, I outdrew you 3-1 and cast a bunch of burn spells. Whatever you want to call it. Is It Garbage. Okay, he goes in an Is It Garbage pseudo storm deck. He'll counter one of your things, and then all of his spells can't be countered. I mean, you can't get much more annoying than that, unfortunately. And then 2 damage in the air, so I was wrong. I guess you can. And then obviously the Benevolent on Death Exile is the 3rd paragraph there. So, yeah, I actually kind of hate this. I mean, I like it flavor-wise, I just hate everything else about it. So next up we got Jaren, Corrupted Bishop. So some of the people went to the vampires, some of the people went to the demons, and some of the people, it's pretty much confirmed now from a bunch of flavor texts, went to, well, to fairy, which that was a mistake, but then other ones went to the old gods and tried to revive them, because it sounds like the angels were kind of like, they took charge, or they were put in charge, or they replaced the gods, or they outlived the gods, or the gods went to sleep and said, here, angels, handle it, or... It's possible that the one of the demons that opened like a portal to, I don't know, the demon realm or whatever, he suppressed the gods' power at the same time or something. I'm not too up on the lore of Innistrad, but I think it, like, would have to be referenced in things that predate even the first time we were on Innistrad, though. Because it's kind of like it always was like this, but we know that in history it wasn't always like this. So, I mean, you could look deeper into the lore. I find it interesting. I might look it up myself. Oh, and I guess other humans went to, like, the friendly werewolves in Arlen. And then, well, we got some of the remaining angels. We got the Sigarda. So, I mean, they're going to multiple different sources to be like, how do we stop this day-night crap? How do we clean up all the like, Eldrazi stuff? The remaining, you know, mutated horrors and all that. And my vote is that the gods come back, or at least one of them wakes up, and then maybe like they all wake up, and then it's just all out war against the vampires and the werewolves and all the creepy necromancer crap, all the zombie, you know, necro artists or whatever the hell they call them. And that'll be like the next time we go back to Innistrad, which, let me just say, if that's it, that would be like the coolest shit ever. And remember, they already referenced one of the gods by name, and it's one of the most powerful cards in the set. So the guy who's like, oh, I found him, he's sleeping under the sea, which is like basically me paraphrasing what it says on the flavor text. And then, you know, 2-3 years from now, we go back to Innistrad, and it's like total war against the demons, the vampires, everything dark, everything evil. And then they eventually like wipe them out, win the war, and then it just like turns into Dominaria, which is like peaceful, whatever. Okay, there's a couple evil things, but we pretty much just live here. So I think they should do it. So anyway, a little aside there. We've got Jaren, who decided to probably make a deal with the demons, it looks like, because it says corrupted, so I can't imagine he sided with anyone else. But he's a 2/3 legendary creature, human cleric, of course, and when he enters battlefield or another non-token human you control dies, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 white human creature token. And then if you pay 2, target human you control gains lifelink until end of turn. Okay, so there's a little way to offset it with, you know, simplistic, simplified color costing there. And then at the beginning of your end step, oh, here we go. If you have exactly 13 life, oh, I thought for sure it was going to be win the game because we've seen that before. You may pay 6 if you do transform Jaren. Oh, I knew it. It's Ormondal. I thought he was dead, but like, okay. Yeah, he sided with the demons. I knew it. I guessed it before I even saw this. So 6/6 flying, trample, lifelink, sacrifice another creature, draw a card. So it's Ormondal. Well, it's going to be a nightmare to flip them, but if you do, holy shit. Now, I think Ormondal last time was like a land or something, wasn't he? Or a statue? Or I don't remember. I remember if you got him out, it was like, damn, but it was really hard to do. So he is powerful. I mean, I don't necessarily, you know, hate on Jaren for just being like, oh, I know he has some power. He'll kill the werewolves, except you can't trust demons, you dumbass. In fact, the flavor text on the back is, Jaren. You went to Jaren. I had to say it. You've been such a faithful, useful insect. Yeah, he's about to kill him. Dumbass, making a deal with the demons. Just so he might accidentally kill a couple werewolves on the way to whatever the hell he wants to do. So next up, we got Obsessive Astronomer. He does meth. I calls them like I sees them. Oh my god, I didn't even read the flavor text. Sleep? I can sleep when I'm dead. Now I'm sure he's on meth. Okay, so we've got the humans turning to everything I just said before, and then we've got, I'm going to stare at the stars and use, I almost said cosmetology. What is it called? Cosmology? The cosmos to solve all of our problems. Maybe that's where one of the gods is hiding, up in the stars. I don't know. Maybe he's onto something in his meth delusions. So anyway, if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day, because that's when you look at the stars through a telescope. Sure, when he enters the battlefield, whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. Okay, I mean, he's honestly helping the werewolves, which makes no sense. Another just absolute meaningless lore catastrophe. Like I said, I haven't read every chapter of the story because it's not even out yet, but that card seems one gigantic contradiction because it doesn't help the humans at all. Not really. I mean, the night flippers are going to be the werewolves, let's be honest. Everybody else is trying to make a day. So next up, we got Stromkirk Blood Thief. It's a 3-cost 2/2 vampire rogue. And at the beginning of your end step, if an opponent lost life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target vampire you control. Okay, this life crap is getting completely out of control. All right, we've got like mono white, then we've got even better mono white now when this set drops. Then we've got white black Valkyries, which is insane. It's slow, but it's insane because of that one enchantment. Then we've got party backed white black clerics. Now we've got like mono black rogues with maybe vampire boost. Then we've got any mix of any of them and just run this because this is just a flying Ajani's Pridemate. That's way too many options when it's already the best deck in the world. So giving the best deck in the world 3 other ways to build itself when we've already kind of seen stuff like this, oh, it's gonna be yikes for me, bro. So none of these that we've seen in this set are terrifically over the line at all. It's just the decks that already exist are the problem. So I mean, this isn't even flying. Like it's not even a good Ajani's Pridemate. Oh, it's obviously it's backwards. It's if an opponent lost life instead of you gaining life. So it's reverse backwards Ajani's Pridemate, but you know, whatever. But it isn't per instance, it's per turn. So it's like, how fast could it really be? So it's not even that good of a card, but if you sit there and ping them with pests, or you sit there and, oh, I gain life, so they lose 1 life, and then, oh, look, you lost a life, so now I get a counter on this, but I also put a counter on it because of Cleric class. Oh, boy. Paladin, or whichever one of the two. AKA the Ajani's Pridemate enchantment. I mean, it's just too much shit. It's too much bouncing around pinging crap, and now we're just putting more fuel on the fire. So I really, really, really don't like this. But if they banned 2 of the angels and 1 of the classes, I'd be happy. But literally, that's what it would take to slow this down, to just like a fair but playable tier 1 deck. So it looks like that is it for today, although, I mean, today we have a buttload of spoilers, so I might stay up and make that video, because I gotta get up at 7:30 in the morning on a freaking Saturday anyway, because money. What's that famous line? Wake up, you gotta make money? More like stay up all night because your boy Des is broke. It's really made a bit harder by the fact that I can't safely have caffeine. You didn't hear me say I wouldn't have any. Well, anyway, if I never finish the spoilers, it's because I'm dead. So on that happy thought, thanks for showing up for this spoiler video. I'll get the other one out ASAP, and I'll see you guys next time.